you thinking or just research that you're actually really confident. And I'm a big campaigner of buying and buyers. I think I told you that. They're the most important people. Forget about the press, in my opinion. You need to sort out have some ability to say, some confidence in saying, I can get to a buyer of somebody major. Because without the sales, you can't do anything else. And then your production. Production, unfortunately, is one of the most difficult things. You'll spend like 90% of your time on production, about 10% on fun stuff like design. So figure out who's going to produce these things. Even if it's just you thinking you're going to sew it in the beginning, that takes up a lot of time, and that only works for so long. So figuring out how you're going to do production is massive. Because let's say, be careful what you wish for, and you get orders. You're going to have a really hard time finding factories to produce if you're a new label.
Especially with the minimums, really.
Yeah.
Minimums being the minimum number that the factory will make. Usually, fledgling businesses start off with smaller quantities than the manufacturers are prepared to make for their costs. But listening to your bit is listening to Victoria Beckham in some way, who is a creative person and doesn't see herself as someone who's naturally a sort of a doer and maker of things, but always knows who to employ. So when you were talking earlier and you said you needed to get a really good pattern cutter, or you needed to get someone who knows about production, I mean, is that the way to go, is to understand what you do need, what you don't know, and then how to
yeah, I'm a huge believer in employing the best of the best, or somebody that knows better than you and saying, I don't know. Yeah, absolutely.
Again, what challenges, obviously short of money probably when you start off any business, but what other challenges do you face when you're setting up a business like that?
Well, I don't particularly like accountants or lawyers, so there's all of that. Money is always a massive issue, and if there is a huge pot of gold, all problems are solved without much headache, including getting the best. Sometimes you can't afford the best pattern cutter, lawyer, whatever. I guess make sure you have a very good support network, and make sure that for you there's not really another option.
Years ago I saw a great advert billboard by the luxury designer Moschino, and it said passion without fashion is just another business, which is quite a good pun, I think, on that, the old cliche of passion for fashion. But I mean, how true is that? I'm guessing that passion is not just involved in the product, it's about going around, seeing the networks, continuing locking people on doors, building up your contacts.
Yeah, well, it's massive because fashion doesn't pay what people would like to think it pays, generally speaking. Of course, there's a very top part that does. But if you're thinking you're going to go into fashion journalism or start designing your own range because you want to buy a Bentley, like, I'd rethink that. So a passion, like, I think for me, you have to have a passion. You absolutely have to have a passion for it, because the industry will beat you down and it's exhausting. If you think that your payday is going to be in 2 years, you better guess again and think more like 10 years. But for me, my passion, I think, is doing and creating. I'm just as passionate about TV as I am about fashion. I think it's the people that I'm around that work in it, do you know what I mean, that are creative and that take risks and are just different.
Yeah, it must give you a buzz to know that 360 million people or whatever are going to be watching.
Well, I don't know if they do actually. They probably change the channel as soon as I come on. They're like, oh God.
So we've covered a lot of material so far. But before I wind up, I'd like to open questions up to the floor. So, do we have anyone? Have we got someone with a mic? Taj, yeah, the lady with the red cardigan. Do we have any questions?